There is a Game of the Year top 10 coming, but I wanted to make a list of games I've enjoyed playing this year that aren't going in my top 10 or didn't release this year, and remasters. I only reviewed 2 of these, so I get to give the rest the credit they deserve here. So in no particular order, we start with
Number 10.
The Evil Within. I played this last year when it released on PC and couldn't stand it. Those black bars ruined it for me. They said it was to make the game more claustrophobic, but I'm calling bollocks. It was to follow the trend of making games more cinematic. Not to mention the PC version was unstable as a house made of crisps. So I waited. Then I saw the news that the developers released a patch which removed the black bars and made it actually work. In short, I'm glad I went back to it. It's not terrifying, but it's a great survival horror experience. Resource management seemed really well balanced and there's some really good atmospheric moments. It's tense above everything else and featured some really cool environments which really feel like you're exploring some nutter's mind.
Number 9.
Shadowrun Returns. If you've seen some of my videos, you know I really like turn-based battle systems. It's a shame Square Enix have a thing against it because their action-based systems are shit. Shadowrun Returns has a cool world and characters with a really interesting main campaign. If you're not a big reader, I'd probably stay away since there is very limited voice acting. Its immersive world mixed with the turn-based XCOM style battle system really kept me invested. There's lots of races, classes and ways to customize your character, suiting lots of different playstyles. It goes on sale a lot, so if you can get it cheap, it's well worth it.
Number 8.
Resident Evil HD Remaster. You know what, I never really liked the original Resident Evil. I found it stupid that I was playing as an elite police officer that was absolutely useless in combat, but the remaster fixed that somewhat. You could hold your own, but you were still vulnerable. The revised controls made it a much better game. You can still play it using tank controls if you want to make the game shit. It's impressive how well visually a GameCube game has held up. The atmosphere is cracking thanks to some really cool creepy sound design and music. But Resident Evil really knows when to not use music, which does a much better job of inflicting anxiety than any musical piece. It's got everything you want from survival horror: good resource management, deadly creepy enemies, and a horrific choking feeling of dread.
Number 7.
Mario Maker. It's a shame Nintendo are tossers about you two, but Mario Maker is really good. You make Mario levels and play other people's, simple as that. The tools are really easy to use and browsing levels is very easy. It would be nice if there was filters to get rid of those levels that play themselves, but if you have a Wii U, it's worth a buy.
Number 6.
Persona 4 Golden. The greatest JRPG ever made. Yep, I'd shag Persona 4 if I could. I played this a while ago on PS2 with the original release, but decided to go through Golden. The game seems to have a typical JRPG battle system, but surprises you a bit. You have to take advantage of your enemy's weaknesses. If you do this, you knock the enemy down and get an extra turn. Knock all the enemies down and you get to do the wonderfully cartoony all-out attack. All this is backed up by a very anime life sim. You have to go to school, study for exams, read, make lunch, build model robots. There's so much to do. Making friends is one of the biggest parts of the game. The more friends you make, the better personas you can create, which gives you different abilities. You can switch these on the fly to suit the monster you're fighting. The story and characters are what make it though. These are some of the best characters you'll encounter in any game. All have their own personalities and unique traits. The game as well tackles some surprisingly mature themes with competence. It would take a whole video to explain it all, but damn, this is a fine game. Golden can go on too long though with all its extra content, so you need to set a lot of time aside.
Number 5.
Final Fantasy XIV. I've been playing the shit out of this. If it released this year, then it would be in my Game of the Year above a certain other MMO that's going to be in it. Technically, I suppose it could be because the expansion came out this year, but it's not a full game, even though it has tons more content than most games, and it's got hotkey combat, which I hate, but FF14 keeps it simple. You don't have 500 different abilities and 7 hotbars, which make the HUD a cluttered mess. It's got a massive amount of content. Leveling isn't an absolute chore thanks to a variety of activities and interesting world. It's a shame the main story quests become an incoherent mess with tons of padding, but it gets better when you get to the Heaven's Ward expansion pack content. Being able to change class at any time also keeps it more engaging. I've always had a problem with sticking to one class, so you can try them all out on the same character and choose what you want. An engaging world, a nice variety of content, and very nice presentation. Most importantly though, the game does a good job of explaining all its mechanics.
Number 4.
Wasteland 2. This was just shy of getting on my Game of the Year list, but it's still a good game regardless. It requires you put in quite a bit of time before it gets great, and I usually hate that excuse. But it is definitely the case in Wasteland 2. Engaging combat, a post-apocalyptic world that is actually interesting with a nice variety of, well, everything. The amount of cool environments, party makeup, skills, and quests really keep you invested after the initial early game frustrations. I won't say much more because this is one I actually reviewed, which you can check out here.
Number 3.
The Crew Wild Run Edition. I dabble in racing games from time to time, Test Drive Unlimited being one of my favourites. When I initially heard about The Crew, it excited me, but it got panned. Fair enough, it probably was broken on release, but the game is fixed now and the Wild Run adds some really cool events. I have criticised some games for having worlds that are too big with not much in them, but The Crew's world makes sense as it has allowed the team to create some awesome racetracks, and the large maps give you lots of opportunities to practice your driving. I'm not a big racing fan, so I can't really tell you about the handling that much, but each car does feel different. You can convert your car into different specs such as dirt, drag and street. All of them have their own events attached to them and feel totally different. A really good game to play with friends and cheap now as well. I got the Wild Run edition for 20 quid.
Number 2.
Diablo 3 Xbox One. The console versions of Diablo 3 were a godsend for me. I did get it on PC when it first came out, but I can't stand clicking to move in games, apart from tactical and strategy games. In all honesty, I think the console version is better than the PC version, just because it controls much better. I did review the PS3 version a long time ago. The video makes me cringe when I watch it, but go check it out for more depth. But as a simple blow-off Steam game, it's really good. You level really quickly and you consistently get new gear as well as skills and perks. The constant feed of cool stuff keeps you glued, and with friends you can just go in, wipe out hordes and hordes of enemies together. You become such powerful badasses you can't help but smile.
Number 1.
Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Remix. I played the first Kingdom Hearts last year in the 1.5 collection and thought it was okay. The difficulty curve was ridiculous and the story gets really confusing towards the end. I watched all the Rechain of Memories cutscenes on YouTube because that battle system was bollocks, and went into Kingdom Hearts 2. Everything I didn't like about the first seems to have been fixed. No obnoxious difficulty spikes, but it goes too far the other way and becomes easier. Much more responsive combat, and the gummy ship combat isn't total piss. It takes you through a plethora of Disney worlds to explore and fight through, with quite a complex story behind it, which if you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories, you're going to be completely lost. It's quite a charming game and definitely unique. I will play the rest of the series at some point. So there we go, some games I enjoyed in 2015. See, it can be nice.